I wrenched my body around to survey the damage. And there, sprawled on the far side of the coffee table, was Dusty Routt. In addition to being a friend, Dusty was our neighbor. She was also in training to become the firm's second paralegal, and she often got drafted into playing a part in these hijinks. At the very least, she was sometimes pressed into trying to cover them up, as I'd discovered after the spiked coffee affair, when I'd caught her disposing of a plastic bag holding 2 empty gin bottles. "Orders from King Richard," Dusty had whispered conspiratorially. "He says I have to get rid of the evidence, without you catching me, that is," she'd added with a characteristic giggle as she slammed the dumpster lid shut. Since King Richard was Dusty's uncle, Richard Cheneau, the same partner whose stole I later disposed of, I knew a confrontation was out of the question. Just this past August, Richard's secretary had been summarily fired when she'd had the audacity, or stupidity, to send a locket engraved for Richard's mistress to his, wife. Richard's wife, a doctor named K.D., had promptly filed for divorce. I stared at Dusty's back, waiting. I couldn't see her face. Still, I knew it was Dusty. There was her highlighted-at-home hair. There was the like-new beige Calvin Klein suit she was wearing. I'd actually found the suit for her at Aspen Meadows' second-hand store. Now I wanted to hear her high, joyful voice as she jumped up to cry, "Surprise!" I anticipated a trio of attorneys leaping out from behind the receptionist's desk and squealing, "Gotcha!" But I still couldn't hear anything at all. "Dusty," I whispered hoarsely. "Get up. Gag's over." She didn't move. I did finally hear something, but it was only the steady plink-plop of beaten egg dripping onto one of the end tables. My gaze shifted from Dusty to where the sponge liquid had first landed, on Charlie Baker's painting of peach pie, one of 3 of his famous pictures of food that adorned the lobby walls. The frame was broken. Had I done that to dear departed Charlie Baker's artwork? Charlie Baker. I swallowed. "Don't go there," I ordered myself. But then I squinted at some splotches and drips that had stained the painted pie, with its list of ingredients meticulously penned underneath. Fear scurried down my back. I hauled myself up onto my hands and knees. Dusty Routt, the pretty, ambitious 20-year-old whose family had lived across the street from us for the last 3 years, lay a foot away. She still wasn't moving. "Oh, God, Dusty!" I yelled. "Get up!" Dusty's body was twisted, I saw now, and that was why her face was turned toward the carpet. Her 21st birthday was the next day, she'd excitedly informed me. The carrot cake I'd made for her still sat wrapped in my caterer's van. But she hadn't even twitched since I'd tripped over her. "Damn it!" I hollered, as I scooted forward and grabbed her wrist. I couldn't feel a pulse. Maybe it's just weak. Maybe I'm not feeling in the right spot. I struggled to a half-standing position. Dusty looked as if she'd fallen sideways. Her pretty face was obscured by her tumble of blonde-brown hair. I gently shook her shoulders, but nothing happened. I pushed my fingers into a new place on Dusty's wrist, then noticed that the beige skirt had somehow gotten caught up around her hips she had ruthlessly slimmed by riding an exercise bike at Aspen Meadows' new rec center every morning before showing up for work. When King Richard had hired Dusty, as ambitious a niece as any tight-fisted uncle could ever hope to have, she'd been determined to look as mature as possible. She'd just finished her associate's degree and was starting paralegal school, and was set on acquiring and fitting into a professional wardrobe. Remembering her happy gratitude when I'd presented her with the suit, I gently shook her again with my free hand. "Dusty, it's me, Goldy," I murmured as I let go of her wrist and reached under her shoulders with both hands. "I'm going to turn you over." Her body was limp but warm. There was redness around her neck. I saw now that blood was seeping out of a small gash at the top of her forehead, and her pretty face was flushed on one side. Her blue eyes were half open. Her slack mouth contrasted with her bright, curly hair. She didn't moan or blink, and I cursed silently. When I shook her again, her legs sprawled like a scarecrow's, her hands flopped open, palm up. The thoughts I should